There's something almost every senior has been told. Losing your eyesight is just a normal part of aging. Like gray hair or aching joints, blurred vision is expected. Glasses become routine. The world gradually fades into softness, and we're told to accept it. But what if that story isn't the full truth? Vision loss isn't simply caused by time, it's caused by slow, silent damage inside your eyes. Inflammation, nutrient gaps, decades of tiny, unnoticed breakdowns in the retina, your eye's most sensitive layer. And unless you do something, that damage keeps building. Until one day, the letters blur, the faces fade, and driving at night feels terrifying. Here's the shocking part. 99% of older adults have never been told about this. Most believe their only options are stronger glasses, expensive drops, or surgery. But what if the real solution wasn't at the pharmacy, but already sitting in your kitchen? Recent clinical research has uncovered something powerful. There is a seed, one simple, natural seed, that can reduce age-related vision decline by up to 31% in just 90 days. Not only that, but 6 other seeds, each with unique nutrients, have been shown to protect your retina, relieve dry eyes, and even help restore clarity in dim light. And yet most doctors never mention them. Why? Because no one profits from a handful of seeds. They don't need prescriptions. They don't cost hundreds of dollars. But they work, and the science behind them is real. If you've ever struggled to see clearly at night, if you've had to squint just to read a recipe, if you fear losing your independence because of failing vision, then you need to know this. There is still hope, and it doesn't come in a bottle. It starts with what you put on your plate. Let's be honest. The modern eye care industry isn't built to keep your vision healthy. It's built to manage your decline. Glasses, prescription drops, surgeries, laser treatments, these are the tools of an industry worth billions. But none of them are designed to get to the root of the problem. They help you see for now, not protect your vision for life. Because prevention isn't profitable. And food? Food is almost invisible in this conversation. Why recommend something natural, affordable, and accessible when there's no brand name attached? That's why almost no one hears this truth. Your eyes don't just need correction, they need protection. And they're being attacked daily by 2 silent forces: chronic inflammation and missing nutrients. These aren't rare conditions. They affect almost every senior without warning. The retina, your eye's light-sensing center, is especially vulnerable. As we age, free radicals and oxidative stress eat away at these fragile tissues. But certain seeds contain powerful compounds that act like microscopic shields, defending your eyes from the inside out. One groundbreaking study showed that a specific seed, cheap, overlooked, and wildly underused, could slow retinal decline by more than 30% in just 90 days. That's not a rumor. That's peer-reviewed science. And that's just the beginning. There are 7 seeds that science now recognizes as vision-supporting powerhouses, not based on trends, but on results. Measurable improvements in real people, clearer night vision, less dryness, stronger retinal scans. So why haven't you heard about them? Because there's no money in teaching people how to heal themselves naturally. But that's exactly what we're going to do, starting with the seed no one talks about, but maybe your first step back to clarity. They look ordinary. Tiny, crunchy, often overlooked, sunflower seeds rarely make the list of superfoods. Yet for aging eyes, they hold a secret weapon: vitamin E. Vitamin E is more than just a general antioxidant. It plays a frontline role in protecting the fragile cells of your retina, the layer at the back of your eye that turns light into images. Over time, oxidative stress builds up in that area, especially in older adults, damaging the cells responsible for sharp vision. But here's where sunflower seeds come in. They're packed with a form of vitamin E that neutralizes those damaging free radicals. Think of it like rust removal for your vision. And the results aren't just theory. A large 10-year study found that people who regularly consumed vitamin E-rich foods like sunflower seeds had a 25% lower risk of developing age-related macular degeneration, one of the leading causes of vision loss in seniors. Let me tell you about Mahmoud, a 67-year-old retired engineer. He came into our clinic frustrated. His peripheral vision had grown blurry, especially at night. He stopped driving after dusk and avoided social events. He thought it was just what happens with age. But when we looked at his diet, there was a glaring gap. Almost no vitamin E, no seeds, no nuts, nothing feeding the retina. So we made one simple change. We had Mahmoud add just 2 tablespoons of sunflower seeds into his daily meals, sometimes sprinkled on a salad, other times as a light snack. 2 months later, he came back with a quiet smile. He'd driven home from dinner with friends without anxiety for the first time in over a year. His night vision had improved. His retinal scan showed fewer signs of oxidative damage. And perhaps most importantly, he said something that stuck with me. I didn't think something so small could change how I see the world. That's the power of food-based healing. It doesn't shout, it restores. Most people think of pumpkin seeds as a snack for autumn or something you toss after carving a jack-o'-lantern. But hidden inside those green kernels is one of the most essential and most overlooked minerals for aging eyes: zinc. Zinc is your retina's gatekeeper. Without it, a key process breaks down. You see, vitamin A can't reach your retina on its own. Zinc is what carries it there, helping your eyes produce melanin, the pigment that protects against light damage. When you lack zinc, your eyes become more vulnerable to sunlight, screen exposure, and age-related wear. The scary part? Zinc deficiency is shockingly common in seniors, especially those on restricted diets or with digestive issues. We met Lillian, a 74-year-old retired teacher, who came to us with a quiet fear. I feel like there's a cloud between me and the world. Reading became frustrating. Her favorite books blurred. She needed more light, more magnification, and less hope. Blood tests confirmed what her eyes had been whispering: extremely low zinc levels. Instead of going straight to supplements, we chose a natural route. We asked her to eat a quarter cup of pumpkin seeds each morning with her oatmeal, adding roughly 2.5 milligrams of zinc into her system daily. No pills, just food. Within a few weeks, she said the cloud had started to lift. By the 3-month mark, she was reading again, without the extra magnifier. Her scans showed improved retinal stability. But her voice said even more. She wasn't just seeing clearer. She was coming back to life. She started tutoring neighborhood kids again, picking up where she'd left off years ago. Sometimes what the eye needs most isn't surgery or glasses. It's a missing nutrient your body has been quietly craving for years. And pumpkin seeds, humble, simple, forgotten, can help bring it back. They're barely the size of a pinhead. But inside each chia seed is a powerful secret your aging eyes are desperate for. It's called ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 that has a very specific mission: to calm the silent inflammation eating away at your retina. As we grow older, inflammation doesn't always scream. It whispers. It works quietly, slowly thinning the macula, the part of the retina responsible for sharp central vision. In some people, it leads to dryness, discomfort, or blurry patches that don't go away. Most people treat these symptoms with eye drops or ignore them altogether. But Nancy didn't want a temporary fix. She was 70, a former seamstress, and proud of her embroidery skills. But in recent months, she struggled to see the fine threads. Even in bright light, her stitches blurred. Her eyes felt dry and irritated. "I keep blinking like I'm wiping fog off a window," she told us. Her retina scans revealed low-level inflammation. Nothing dramatic, but enough to disrupt her daily joy. So we turned to chia seeds. Every morning, she added 2 tablespoons of soaked chia into her smoothie. That's it. No pills, no eye drops, just real food, rich in ALA, lutein, and zeaxanthin, nutrients that act like natural sunglasses inside the eye, filtering harmful blue light. By the 6th week, Nancy's dry eyes had eased noticeably. Her eyes no longer burned by afternoon. And most importantly, she said something we'll never forget: "My patterns are clear again. I can see beauty in the details." She even returned to teaching a weekend craft class at her local community center, a space she had quietly stepped away from when her vision faltered. What chia seeds gave her wasn't just moisture. It was confidence, freedom, and a return to herself. And that's the power of these tiny seeds, small enough to miss, strong enough to restore. Sometimes it's not the big things that wear you down. It's the constant irritation, that gritty, burning sensation. Eyes that feel like sandpaper by mid-afternoon. The drops help, but only for a little while. Then the discomfort comes back. For many seniors, dry eyes aren't just annoying, they're exhausting. But there's a reason this happens. As we age, our tear film, the delicate layer of moisture that coats and protects our eyes, starts to thin. It evaporates too quickly, and without that shield, everything feels dry, raw, and overexposed. Now here's what most people don't know. Flax seeds can help rebuild that protective film. They're rich in ALA omega-3s, but even more importantly, they improve the quality of your eye's natural lipids. That means your tears stay longer, protect better, and soothe faster. Let me tell you about Youssef. A 69-year-old retired school bus driver, he was used to long hours and sharp focus. But after retirement, he noticed something strange. By midday, his eyes would sting. Watching a movie? Uncomfortable. Reading a paper? Annoying. Even wind or air conditioning would set off a wave of irritation. He tried over-the-counter drops. They worked, but only for minutes. When we looked at his diet, we saw the problem right away. No omega-3s, no healthy fats. He didn't like fish. He didn't eat seeds. His tear film had no building blocks. So we suggested something simple. Each morning, he mixed 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed into his yogurt. Ground, because whole flax seeds often pass through the body undigested. Within 2 weeks, he said his eyes felt calmer. No more reaching for drops every hour. After a month, he didn't need them at all. Even his wife noticed. I caught him watching old action movies again, and not rubbing his eyes every 5 minutes. It wasn't magic. It was biology finally getting what it needed. Sometimes, a small daily ritual, done consistently, can restore comfort we thought was gone for good. For Youssef, flax seeds weren't just food, they were relief. Your eyes don't just need nutrients, they need circulation. Tiny, steady rivers of oxygen and fuel flowing into the most delicate structures of your retina. But here's the problem. As we get older, especially if we have high blood sugar or early diabetes, those tiny vessels start to suffer. The walls weaken, blood leaks, tissues swell, vision warps. It happens slowly, until one day you see dark floaters, blurred lines, or a patch of vision that won't come back. That's what brought Ahmed into our clinic. He was 72, a retired tailor, still sharp, still proud of his craft. But lately, the fine lines he once mastered had started to bend. Straight stitches looked crooked, small patterns became hard to distinguish. Worse, he started seeing little black dots drifting across his field of vision. His diagnosis? Early-stage diabetic retinopathy. His fear? That he'd go blind and lose his independence. We didn't just look at his medical history. We looked at his lifestyle. He was managing his blood sugar fairly well, but his circulation was fragile. His retina needed support, and not just from medicine. So we introduced him to something he already loved but never saw as medicine: black sesame seeds. In traditional Asian medicine, black sesame is a revered food. Rich in vitamin B1, zinc, and potent antioxidants like sesamin, it's known to strengthen microcirculation, reduce blood sugar spikes, and protect capillaries from oxidative damage. We had Ament mix 1 tablespoon of roasted black sesame with a little raw honey and take it in the evening, his new nightly ritual. 6 weeks later, something remarkable happened. His OCT scan showed reduced swelling in the retina. The floaters? Less frequent. The distortion? Milder. But what mattered most was his attitude. "I feel like I'm not helpless anymore," he said. "I'm doing something. I'm not just waiting to go blind." That shift from fear to action is where healing begins. Your eyes are hungry for support, not just in crisis, but every single day. And black sesame seeds, humble and ancient, can help feed the system that feeds your vision. The retina captures the image, but it's the optic nerve that carries the vision. This slender cord of over 1 million tiny nerve fibers connects your eye to your brain, translating what you see into meaning. And once it starts breaking down, the losses can be subtle or devastating. Tunnel vision, blind spots, glaucoma. By the time symptoms show, the damage is often already underway. But what if there was a way to protect this vital connection, day by day, meal by meal? That's where hemp seeds come in. These soft, nutty seeds contain something rare, gamma-linolenic acid, a unique omega-6 that, unlike most inflammatory fats, actually reduces inflammation, especially in the nerves. We saw this firsthand in Elias. He was 75, a former newspaper editor who had spent his life obsessing over headlines, columns, and every stray comma. But now his vision had begun to close in. He'd been diagnosed with early-stage glaucoma. His eye pressure was up. His field of vision was narrowing. But what scared him most wasn't the diagnosis. It was the feeling of powerlessness. He was using the prescribed drops. But he asked us, "Is there anything else I can do for me?" We reviewed his diet. It lacked omega-3s, yes, but more critically, it lacked anti-inflammatory nutrients that target the optic nerve. So we started small. 2 tablespoons of raw shelled hemp seeds with his breakfast, on toast, mixed into yogurt, sometimes stirred into oatmeal. Easy, tasty, gentle. After 2 months, the change wasn't dramatic, but it was real. His eye pressure dipped slightly. More importantly, his optic nerve scans showed slowed progression. The thinning had plateaued, and Elias, once skeptical, began to look forward to his daily ritual. The drops help, he said, but the seeds, they make me feel like I'm in the fight. And that matters. Because when it comes to something as precious as your sight, knowing you can take action, even in small, nourishing ways, is sometimes the strongest medicine of all. Of all the seeds in this journey, this one is different. It's rare, precious, almost mythical. And yet, for seniors losing their sight, saffron might be the most powerful ally of all. We're not talking about the pinch of saffron that flavors a dish. We're talking about saffron extract, rich in 2 remarkable compounds, crocin and quercetin, that directly affect the photoreceptor cells in your retina. These are the cells responsible for turning light into vision. And they're the first to fade in age-related macular degeneration, AMD, especially in its dry form, the kind most people think has no solution. But saffron doesn't just protect those cells. It can restore their function. A clinical trial published in the British Journal of Ophthalmology found that just 20 milligrams of saffron daily significantly improved retinal sensitivity and visual sharpness in seniors with early AMD in just 90 days. Let me tell you about Abraham. He was 79, a retired painter from Alexandria. His life had been about color, shape, light, and detail. But in the last 2 years, the world had started to wash out. Faces blurred, words swam. Even the intricate patterns on his prayer mat became shadows. Doctors told him the truth. He had dry AMD, and he should prepare to lose his central vision. He was devastated, but his daughter wouldn't give up. She brought him to us, desperate but still hopeful. We didn't offer miracles. We offered science. Standardized saffron extract, 20 milligrams per day, taken consistently. At the 6-week mark, something happened. Abraham noticed he could see the texture of his mat again. A month later, he recognized his grandson's face from across the room. By 3 months, his retinal scans showed improved electrical responsiveness. And Abraham? He said this, "I thought the world was going dark forever. But saffron, it gave me light again." That's not marketing. That's biochemistry. And hope. Because for seniors facing vision loss, saffron isn't just a spice. It's a signal that the story isn't over, that your eyes still have a chance, that something as natural as a seed can spark healing where despair once lived.